What's up, friends? Amanda Nybert, registered dietitian, continuing my live series on nutritional strategies that are going to help you succeed in the new year with your weight loss. Today, we're talking all about why macros matter. Yes, so going to give everybody just a couple of seconds to jump on. Again, my name's Amanda Nybert. I'm a registered dietitian with a passion for health and wellness. And I've been using this week to kind of sprinkle some information to you to help you understand really more about the strategies in which I use in my LEAN program. LEAN stands for Living Energized and Nourished, and how when we put them all together, they really help to create a sustainable lifestyle that promotes weight loss, but even more longevity and overall health and wellness. And today we're going to dive into macros. So let's start by talking a little bit about what the heck are macros. Macros is short for macronutrients. And macronutrients, there's actually four, are carbohydrates, proteins, fats, and the fourth macronutrient is actually alcohol. So we're going to focus on carbohydrates, proteins, and fats today because alcohol probably deserves its own video. But why do your macros matter? That's what we really want to dive into. So I want to make sure that I'm clear to say that at the end of the day, yes, calories matter as well, okay? But the makeup of your calories probably matter more than you realize. And understanding that appropriate balance between carbohydrates, proteins, and fats is really key, because I work with so many people that will tell me, Amanda, I've cut my calories, I'm not seeing progress. I'm counting calories, I'm not seeing progress. And most likely it's due to the makeup of your macros do not equal what you need for fat loss. So let's dive into it. We know that at the end of the day, depending on the makeup of your macros, sometimes that really offsets your caloric intake. So, and when you understand when you understand the things that impact your ability to store fat and burn fat, you really have a better understanding of why your macros matter. So, the number one fat storing hormone in the body is insulin. All right. Insulin is produced in reaction to the amount of carbohydrates that you consume. Whenever insulin is present in the body, you are storing fat, period. All right. So in order to get into that fat loss phase, in order for your body to metabolize fat, there can't be any insulin on board. So really the number one goal is to make sure that when you sit down to a meal, it's going to have the best blood sugar response. And a lot of people, when I start talking about blood sugar and insulin, they immediately think, oh, low carb diet. All right, this lady is going to tell me that in order for me to make progress, I'm going to have to cut out on my carbs. Bullet. No, I'm not, okay? And that's really a big myth in nutritional kind of education right now, is that the only way to succeed is by cutting out the carbs. And that's not the case. I really believe that it's important to teach my clients balance, all right? Letting them see you can have 100, 150, 200 carbs a day, as long as you're balancing them out in the right portion with enough fiber, enough fat, and enough protein. Your blood sugar response is going to be appropriate in order to help you metabolize fat, okay? So, but understanding that insulin is what's driving fat storage is really key to understanding why your macros matter. So, ideally, at the end of the day, whenever you sit down to a meal, you really want to have in your mind, how am I going to curate this meal in order to produce the best blood sugar response? Another kind of myth or misthinking that a lot of people have is that, again, in order to promote weight loss, I have to have zero blood sugar response. And that's pretty impossible unless you're eating like keto or absolutely no carbs. So again, the goal is to manage that blood sugar response so that your blood sugar goes up and comes down quickly. The quicker, the less it goes up, the quicker it comes down, the less that insulin is present in the body. So understanding carbohydrate control is important. And I'm going to talk to you about different ways that you can improve your blood sugar response to meals, even meals that have 50 to 60 grams of carbohydrates to it. So carbohydrate balance is key. Number 2, protein. All right, protein is the most important macronutrient for weight loss. It is the one macronutrient that you are under eating. It is the one macronutrient that we must consume on a daily basis. We do not have readily available adequate stores of protein. And it is so important for weight loss to be getting adequate protein. I know I talk a lot about protein, and I think because I talk so much about protein, people assume that I promote a high protein diet, and I don't. People will often go to their doctor and be like, I'm on a high protein diet. If you're on lean, you are not on a high protein diet. You are on a protein adequate diet. All right. The challenge is, or why you think you're on a high protein diet, is because you're grossly under eating protein. In the lean program, we actually calculate your personal macronutrient needs because everyone's needs are different. So when people are like, how much protein should I have? How much protein should I have at each meal? It's hard for me to give out just general numbers because everyone's protein needs are different. But I can say with good certainty that almost everyone needs at least 100 grams of protein a day. I always tell people, I'm like, here's your challenge, okay? Change nothing, track everything. If you're tracking, the foods that you're typically eating, and you're getting 50 to 60 grams of protein, which I think is about the average amount of protein people are consuming on a daily basis, it's why you're not losing weight, okay? So a couple other things about protein. You need enough, okay? I always tell people, your body has 2 pathways. It can find protein or it can burn fat. It cannot do both. All right. So when you don't provide the body with adequate amounts of protein, your fat burning pathway is closed because the body is forced to go find protein. So if you want to make sure that fat burning pathway is wide open, all you have to do is just provide your body with adequate protein. So that's number 1. That's why low protein diets make weight loss harder, okay? Because the body's too busy finding protein and it can't focus on metabolizing fat. When people talk about like starvation mode, what we should really be talking about is protein starvation mode, because that's what it is. Yes, under consuming calories will throw your body into a starvation mode, but it's more so the fact that typically under consuming calories leads to under consuming protein. So again, you fuel your body with adequate protein, then that fat burning pathway is wide open, and that's what we want. The other thing about protein is your body can only optimize protein at so much at one time. All right. So if your protein needs are 100 grams a day and you're getting 10 grams at breakfast, 10 grams at lunch, and then getting 80 grams at dinner, you're still going to be somewhat in a protein deficiency. All right. Because your body can't utilize 80 grams of protein in one sitting. Now, here's the other caveat, you may say, okay, well, how much protein can I have at one sitting? Well, that depends on what your protein needs are. I love to use Shaquille O'Neal as an example. Shaquille O'Neal's big guy, okay? He probably needs at least 20 grams of protein a day. Therefore, Shaquille O'Neal can sit down to potentially 70 grams of protein 3 times a day, 80 grams of protein 3 times a day, and optimize that. My protein needs are 120 grams a day, 130 grams a day. So if I sit down to, 70, 80 grams of protein, again, my body's not going to officially utilize all the protein that I need. So when we think about 100 grams of protein a day, we think about 3 meals a day. You want to be aiming for about 30 to 40 grams of protein at each meal. So Another thing that I teach you in my lean program is number one, I'm going to help you set your protein goal. Then I'm going to help you to determine how much do I need at each meal in order to optimize my protein needs. So take your protein goal, divide it by 3, aim for that at each meal. Spacing out your protein is going to help improve your weight loss results. So protein is number 2. Number 3, when we talk about fat, the way that I teach fat to my lean clients is the biggest thing I want them to understand is number 1, fat does not make you fat. Okay. Fat fills you up. It keeps you full. It helps you lose weight. All right. But what you have to realize is that for 1 gram of fat, you get 9 calories versus 1 gram of carbohydrates and proteins, you get 4 calories. Okay. So if you are consuming an excess amount of fat, you are more likely to pull yourself out of a caloric deficit than if you're using fat in moderation. And this is the challenge with macros. You know, a lot of people want to go at this kind of macro approach to weight loss kind of on their own. And generally when I see people do that, they start tracking and they immediately get frustrated because their macros never add up. Their carbs are a little high, their fat's a little low, their protein is a little high. And what you have to realize is that your macros are never going to add up perfectly. It's understanding kind of the priority of where your macros should be. I'll summarize that for you, okay? When you understand your macros and you're looking to eat to optimize your macros, you want to be at or over your protein, okay? Under, not ideal. At or over, better. All right, you want to be at or under your carbohydrates. Do you have to eat all your carbohydrates? No, but you don't want to go over your carbohydrates. Remember, we want to focus on blood sugar management. And in order to manage your blood sugar, we do have to manage our carbohydrates around 100 to 200 carbs a day, you know, not 10 carbs a day. And then when it comes to fat, you can actually be at, you can be under, you can be at, or you can be over fat as long as you stay in a caloric deficit. So once people understand this macro approach, this strategy to optimizing your macros, it's so much easier, okay? Because you know what goals you're trying to hit, you know what goals you want to be at or over, you know what goals you want to be at or under. And it makes balancing out your meals so much easier. Okay, so at the end of the day, yes, we have to be conscious of calories for sure, but the makeup in which your calories are probably matter more. So just to kind of summarize what you should be thinking about when it comes to macro management for weight loss. Number 1, you have to be getting enough protein. Okay, you have to get enough protein and you have to learn how to optimize that throughout the day. Splitting it up, eating a little bit at every meal, not hoarding it all to the last meal or eating it all at the first meal. Number 2, carbohydrate balance. All right, it's kind of the same. The approach that I teach my clients is similar to protein. Okay, take your carbohydrate goal, divide it by 3. Aim for that at each meal. If you need about 150 grams of carbohydrates, do 50, 50, 50. Okay, do 40, 40, 60, 40, 40, 70. All right, there's flexibility in these kind of per meal numbers, but being able to understand what your per meal number is helps you to make better choices in the long run. Number 3, manage your fat while managing your calories. All right. So it's as simple as that. Okay. Understanding what are my macro needs and then breaking it down to understand what your macros per meal are. All right. So in general, I'm just going to use myself as an example. In maintenance, I'm eating about 2,000 to 2,500 calories a day. All right. I aim for 3 meals, 1 snack a day. Okay. So when I look at what my meals need to look like, I know that every meal needs to have 30 to 40 grams of protein. If I eat breakfast and it only has 10 grams of protein, it's going to be harder for me to make up that protein at the end of the day. I know that each of my meals needs to be about 500 to 700 calories. Now, typically I eat a lighter breakfast. You know, my breakfast is typically more like 300 to 400 calories. So I have extra calories to push in my lunch and dinner. But however, it's really helpful for me to know a meal is about 600 calories. A meal is about 30 to 40 grams of protein. A meal is about 60 grams of carbs. So if I pick up a meal, if I'm looking, let's say I'm eating out, or, I'm curating a meal, and I look at it and, it fits those numbers, I'm good to go. All right. I know that I'm on track. If I, grab a meal and it's 1,000 calories, then I know I'm going to have to trim some calories at another meal. And that's what all of this is about. It's about checks and balances, recognizing, for example, at Thanksgiving, which we have coming up, I don't even know what day it is, maybe tomorrow. But for example, I know I'm going to be eating a lot more calories at Thanksgiving. So I'm going to trim calories at breakfast and lunch. I'm going to really make sure I optimize my protein at breakfast and lunch. I'm going to hold back on some carbs at breakfast and lunch. And then I'm going to have adequate protein at Thanksgiving with a little extra calories that I've banked and a little extra carbs that I've banked. And then at the end of the day, I'm going to end up right on track. So again, understanding this macro approach is just really going to help you kind of unlock the keys to weight loss. So, okay, I'm going to answer a couple of questions. I know a couple of you guys have those here, and then I'm going to wrap it up because I really like to keep these videos kind of nice, short and sweet. Share this video if you found it helpful. I love it. Great program. I lost 29 pounds with lean. Congratulations. I love that. Can you give meal examples? I actually give so many meal examples. Like if that's where you're struggling, like I don't know what to eat, lean is for you. I give you recipes. I give you restaurant meals. I give you quick and easy meals in the freezer section. Because again, I want to make it as simple as possible. Yay, someone's saying protein, awesome. They agree with me. Can you also help us, tell us about supplements to help with building muscle? Yeah, I'll do another call on that. Do you eat the amount of protein per body pound weight you are or per pound you want to be? If I'm 145 now, but I want to be 130, do I eat about 130 grams of protein a day? That's a good way to look at it. So I eat, my protein goal is I weigh about 140 pounds. I aim to get 120 to 140 grams of protein a day. So if you want a quick calculation, then a quick calculation is you should be eating your goal weight in protein, okay? Or as close as possible to it. If you are significantly overweight, that calculation can be a little bit different. Again, that's why I like to give custom macros in my lean program. I did the 7-week program, down 18 pounds, 12 inches. I love that. I love seeing you guys' success. Did your program 2 years ago, doing a fresher now. I love that. Down 25 pounds. You guys are absolutely making my day. I'm a petite person who needs 100 grams of protein. I really only like to eat twice a day, but can the body really process 50 grams of protein in one sitting? It's probably the max, okay? It's probably the max. I'm not a fan of extended fasting for this reason. All right, fasting, I did a whole video on that on Monday. And I talk about the fact that protein optimization trumps fasting. And I think that with the craze of fasting over the last couple of years, people have missed that fact, all right? So in an ideal scenario, if your protein goal is 100 grams, you probably would be better off doing 30 to 40 twice a day and then maybe throwing in a 10 to 20 gram snack in the middle. Let's see here. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to you. Oh, Lordy, I got all sorts of creepers in here today. I've done one round, done another. Awesome. All right, guys, thank you so much. If you found this information beneficial, please share this with your friends and family. We have the most amazing Black Friday specials going on with lean right now. It will never be cheaper. You can delay your start for January. I'm excited to work with as many people as I can in the new year to help you optimize your lifestyle for weight loss. Okay? Talk to you soon. Bye.